I can hear you.
Yay! Cool.
It isn't a Cardboard Empire podcast without some technical difficulties.
Would it be exciting if we couldn't hear each other?
Yeah.
I really hope we get that thing today where like you just can't hear
What
me
thing?
where like my computer gets all like sped up and stuff and you can't hear me.
Oh yeah, it's already happened. It's happening right now.
Perfect. Yay.
Yeah.
So, welcome back.
You like my side pony today?
I do. I was really scared because I got my hair cut and like I was like just chop off all the dead stuff and I thought they were going to go shorter. I'm really happy they didn't. This has taken like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like I'm finally to that length of hair when you like lay in bed and it gets caught on your back and like, you know what I mean? I mean.
Well, yeah, that's just my entire existence.
Yeah, like
I never really go shorter than that.
But like I braid my hair when I go to bed now because just like laying on my hair is annoying. It's finally getting long. It's beautiful. Oh, you're drinking fancy tonight.
Well, this is what was left in a bottle of champagne from Friday. Well, from 2 Fridays.
We had Nick's family get together on Saturday. And we were celebrating birthdays and stuff. So like there was like 3 girls that had a birthday, like his aunt and his brother's girlfriend and like someone else. And so I just bought everyone like a Target brand of wine, like sangria and Moscato. And I was like, you guys just pick what you like. And then I was given a Kendall Jackson brand, which is
I don't know what that is.
Very cheap bottle of rosé, which I don't like rosé. And so it's been sitting in my fridge and I'm like, maybe one day I'll just drink it, just chug it.
Yeah. You could mix it with something, make it into a punch.
Yeah, that's true. So, welcome back to Cardboard Empire, guys, TV edition. We took a little
Welcome.
Took a little break on this end to, we'll just say, we'll use my birthday as an excuse, but we were just feeling...
That's what I said on Friday.
We were just feeling really tired. Mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah, I've decided I'm suffering from a case of the blahs, and it's now passed on to Taylor.
It's like
my stomach hurts, but it doesn't like hurt.
Yeah.
Like I'm not nauseous, but I have no appetite and I just feel blah.
I feel like my like winter seasonal affective disorder depression just like it was done for like 2 months and now I think it's back. Just, quarantine and stuff. Like I need to force myself to be doing these things.
Yeah.
But it was my 27th birthday on Thursday, so just gave myself a week off. Yay!
Your last year to die cool.
I know. I'm just telling you though, like you don't want me to die. Like you're listed as my beneficiary and everything, but like you should wait till it's at least worth more. Like so my death is worth it. Like you at least get something out of it.
I'd get you not existing.
And maybe like 10 grand.
And I think that's worth it.
Well, and like after your debt's paid, you might have like $10 left over. I have a good life insurance policy. So you might pay off the student loan with it. I don't know. Well, so we watched episodes 7 through 12, season 2.
Yeah, we did.
It's been over a week for me, so like I'll try to recall all the fun facts, but you watched them today.
Yeah, I really struggled with episodes 8, 9, and 10 though.
Yeah. I don't remember what they were, but I'm sure I'll get that once we're there.
Yeah. Well, shall we start?
We shall. Then we can recap on the last 2 weeks at the end of this.
Season 2, episode 7, Summertime. George makes a big revelation to Anne.
Ooh. So yeah, the one thing I was like disappointed that we didn't, like we mentioned last time, that I was like, oh, it was weird that we're starting the summer. But I'm kind of upset that we didn't get like a summer season.
We never saw the summer.
Yeah, so this episode starts with Ben coming back from Bologna, and he's texting Henry and Alice to see what's up.
H and A.
Yeah, and then once that text comes to H and A, Henry is in under the covers in between Alice's legs.
It's just implied, but it's never confirmed.
Yeah. Well, he was under the covers. Like, I'm not saying he's doing anything.
No, but we never even see him. We just see that something's going
That's
on under
true.
the cover.
And then we show that Ben is hiding a photograph of another girl. And then when he's putting that
mystery girl on Vespa.
Yeah, when he's putting that picture in his drawer, all of his old condoms are gone.
Oh, Dad.
Daddy-o and Betty.
Yeah, it seems like all of the characters are getting like a 1-minute scene right now.
And then I wrote...
We're just seeing what they're up to.
Then I wrote Jack breaks window, but I don't remember how he did that.
He's like, because he went to football camp, so he's practicing throwing in his bedroom.
Well, he should have had some more practice.
Yeah.
And then we're at Grace's house, and she is being a health nut, criticizing Tom for making an ice cream sundae, saying that he should be eating heart-healthy foods because, she went to doctor camp.
Heart disease is the #1 killer.
It's true. And then we go over to Ricky and Adrian, and Ricky's calling Adrian to say goodnight, and Adrian's with another guy.
Yes.
And then Ricky has another girl, too.
But it's okay because Ricky's with another girl.
Yeah.
And they're both like cheap knockoffs of each other.
Yeah, I do realize that.
Yeah, like how they did that in Gossip Girl.
And then we go over to Amy, and she's sleeping on the table.
And she's still mad.
Amy's
always mad.
And then we go to the first day of school now.
Yeah.
And it's Ashley's first day of high school.
And she's dressed very comfortably.
Yeah, she's like in some pajamas.
That's the word.
Yeah, like a very loose black top and black sweatpants. No makeup.
Yeah, if it were 2020, she would have been fine. Yeah. She's got the Billie Eilish look going on.
It's true, like she's no form fitting.
Yeah.
And then we go to Ben's house, and he admits to his dad that Amy's complaining that Ben hasn't called her in 2 weeks, and Ben admits that to his dad too. And then
we get stepdad David trying to talk to Amy.
Yeah, I did David living with them, ? So I'm assuming he's been staying over. Because remember, Anne is prego.
With not his child.
And then...
But they all think it is.
George is...
And then he tries to bribe her with a car.
Yeah, but before that, George is giving Ashley a pep talk. Yeah. But yeah, David tries to talk to Amy, saying that... And
they're all still just talking about her clothes.
Yeah, and then David talks to Amy and is like, we don't have to like each other, but I'm here, and if it would make life easier, I could get you a brand new SUV.
To make it very clear that it's an SUV, not a car.
Like how many times have you said SUV? But yeah, and then we get over to Ben, and he is sleeping, and he has some jet lag, and he tells his dad.
Ugh, and his scruff is so ugly.
Yeah, and then he's telling his dad that he's sick of fighting with Amy, so he doesn't really want to go to school.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the Jurgens house, and Amy and Anne and Ashley are all talking about Ashley's comfortable look.
And Amy's forcing Ashley to change.
Yeah.
Or trying to force her to change.
But then Amy also tells Anne about the SUV.
Yeah.
And Anne,
even though she was supposed to already know about
yeah,
it.
and Anne wasn't too happy. And then we go over to Grace's house, and she's got a new accessory of a
Yeah,
wheelie backpack. Nerd.
because it's better on your back. Because everything Grace says now is med camp, med camp, med camp, med camp.
They could just do like the 2 straps instead of just wearing 1 strap, but and then she's been practicing her bedside manner on everyone by creepily grabbing their shoulder and looking straight in their eye. And how are you feeling?
Yeah.
And then Jack comes over to see Grace for the first day of school, and Tom asks Jack if he has a condom, as kind of tricking to see if he's having sex.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we go over to Adrian and Ricky, and they're hooking up, and they kind of don't want to. Ricky doesn't want a commitment, but Adrian wants Ricky to love her.
Yeah, and then they get in a big fight because Ricky's mad that Adrian's been texting Ben while he's been gone.
All summer, which I said was
like, what are you doing talking to Ben?
Which I said was very weird. And then I wrote, LOL, what the fuck, Ricky and Adrian? And I don't know what that's about.
Probably, other
commitment issues.
They're going on and on about sex. Yeah. It's just like, I don't want you to see other people. I don't want you to see other people. I don't want you to see Ben. And I don't want you to see Amy. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And then we get to school.
Yeah, I just kind of wrote sex, sex, sex. Ricky mad at Adrian. And then Adrian spitting truth at Ricky. Blah, blah, blah.
And then we get to school and we see Henry and Alice. And Henry's got pink eye. But they don't really talk about it, but I'm pretty sure it's pink eye, which also implies that he was going down on Alice, but maybe not in the right area, or she just needs to take a shower.
It maybe could have been something else, because it also could have like been poked in the eye with a foot.
I was thinking like maybe a bursted.
Maybe she accidentally
or
whacked
I was thinking
him
like
with her
he
knee.
bursted a blood vessel in his eye when he was like strenuously doing
maybe
something.
He held his breath.
Yeah. Pink eye, and I didn't.
Some kind of eye injury.
Yeah, and then we have Madison and Lauren are talking about their schedule and that they're not in the same elective, and they're talking about home ec. And Madison says, "What's so hard about managing a home?"
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Sewing's pretty hard.
Like managing a home, like, I mean, I don't have kids or like an actual house and I have an apartment, but like it gets annoying keeping up on that laundry when you're just picking up fucking socks everywhere, making sure like dishes are done.
Yeah, I'd argue home ec was the most useful class I took in high school. It's the one I go back to most as I'm like fixing jeans or
so my home ec had
sewing buttons
changed.
back on.
Like I think you had one of the last years of like real home ec, because I never learned to sew and stuff, and like it was changed to.
Yeah, we had one semester it was cooking and one semester it was sewing.
Yeah, so
and we did it in 7th and 8th grade.
By the time it was my turn, they had changed the name of it to something that was like more like inclusive and
facts class.
And we never did sewing or anything. We did cooking, but we did like cleaning, like because you did like that test where you put like the powder on your hands to see if you wash your hands all the way. And so like you put this powder on your hands and then you're just to go wash your hands, and then you put it under a black light and you can see like all the germs that you missed.
We never did that.
The only cooking we really did was like we made like toast and hot chocolate, and I think we made pancakes, but we watched a lot of videos about like other cultures. But yeah, we didn't do like, because you made like a pillow.
Yeah, that was like our big final project.
But also I know I took shop a lot because I was actually like really good at shop.
Yeah, that was like the alternate. That was like, so in 7th grade, half the year was your home ec class, and then the other half was shop. And then in 8th grade, it was the same thing. So you had 2 semesters of shop and 2 semesters of home ec.
Yeah, I did shop like another extra thing. I don't know. I was like oddly good at it. It was weird.
No, I really liked it too.
That bandsaw. Ooh. And I only took like 1 semester of art because I was terrible at art. Like I only did the 1 like mandatory semester. But anywho.
I did too.
Yeah.
2 semesters.
And then we meet the new character, Griffin.
Well, the girls, in addition to talking about their schedules, they also decide they both want boyfriends.
Oh, yes.
Because Jason has broken up with Madison.
Yep. They do want boyfriends. And then that's when they see the new guy, Griffin.
Yes. And they both try to claim him.
Yes. So he's like a new guy, and I don't know if he's met Ash.
Oh, we also, right before Griffin walks in, Jason stops by the girls quick. And he also does the creepy hand grab.
And he's got the backpack. He's got the rolling backpack too.
Yeah.
And then Madison's like, well, maybe they'll get back together with Jason. And Lauren's like, no, you're not.
No, he's been doing that ever since he got home.
And then so we see and
then Griffin walks in.
Yeah, we learn he's a freshman. That's kind of all.
The oldest looking freshman I've ever seen. I Googled him, and he would have been 23 when this was filmed.
He was playing like a 14-year-old.
10 years older, yeah.
I mean, on his birthday, he was either 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And then we also learned that since the counselor quit, there's a new counselor, and it's the football coach, which seems like our high school kind of move, like who was ever available can sit in the office.
Did we even have a counselor?
Yes, it was Mrs. Collins, and she was awful. No idea she existed. She didn't help with college or anything like counselor related. You did have to go to her for like AP class scheduling.
We never did.
Well, mine was like I had to talk to her about scheduling because I did AP English for 1 semester. Or no, I did honors lit for 1 semester because my senior year. And then I decided, why am I going to do honors lit 2nd semester senior year? I should just go to like regular English because I already did AP English. So I just had to go to her for that. And then I think I had to talk to her about like my ACT since I got like the free ACT testing with our free lunches.
I never did.
Really?
Yeah, I paid for it.
Oh, because I think we were on reduced lunches then, but if you had free lunches?
No, we had free lunches. I just didn't know that was a thing until after I had already done it.
Yeah,
would have been nice if we had a counselor that talked with us about stuff like that.
You could only do 1.
Because we also could have had college application fees waived.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. I did 1 free ACT, and I think when I retook my ACT, I had to pay for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so the football coach is the new counselor, and then Amy comes in and confronts Ben. Well, she starts to confront Ben, but then the doors burst open to the high school and smoke and wind appear, and here comes sexy Ashley in her way too mature-looking dress for going to the club. She's wearing like a bodycon strapless dress that like maybe that's allowed in California, like the straps. Wouldn't have been allowed anywhere else. And then the bodycon material. And she's wearing like
bright red lips
and high heels. And then so there's that, and everyone's looking at her. And then we go to that Alice and Henry are obsessed with oral.
Yeah.
And then I have everyone wants to have sex. Oh, because
they're in class, and we're like hearing their thoughts.
And Ben accidentally speaks out loud that he loves Amy, and she's the most frustrating girl.
He says, Amy, you are the most beautiful and frustrating girl I've ever met.
Super awkward.
And then he and Amy get held back after class, and they have to write the first chapter of the book as punishment.
Yeah, and then we have Griffin, the new guy, and Ashley meet, and they decide to...
We find out that Griffin is gay.
And they decide to eat lunch together.
Yep, they're going to be friends.
But then we have Ricky comes up and is trying to protect Ashley because he thinks Griffin's hitting on her, and he's trying to act all big brother-ish, which pisses Adrian off.
And then Adrian gets jealous.
Yeah. And then I wrote Adrian's a psycho. And then I have...
And Grace gets pulled in to the counselor's office.
And is like, Grace, you went to med camp this year? Oh, because Grace, earlier, she talks to Jack about the dangers of groin injuries and that he better get a bigger size cup that fits him.
Yeah.
So Coach pulls Grace into their office and tells her not to talk to Jack the rest of the season because he's seen in the past where girlfriends that went to med camp ruin his players and their groins. But then
she like sweet talks him.
Yeah, and then he warms up to her.
Yeah, and she's going to like coach the players on like stretches they can do to prevent groin injuries and other injuries. And then he like asks her like, are you interested in doing sports medicine? She's like, I've been thinking about it. Yeah.
And then something about like, I don't know, was it before or maybe it's the next episode where like Jack is a sexist asshole and said that like girls can't do sports medicine?
I don't remember. I must have zoned out.
Yeah, maybe it's the next episode.
But I do have some notes that are like Grace and Jack spoke or they're talking or something. So maybe it was one of those.
And then we have...
Probably earlier because there's not too much left after this.
Yeah, I wrote, did Amy and Ben break up? ? Because Ben wants sex. OMG, Ben, you're not John's dad. Fuck off. Oh, and they didn't even break up. That's what I got.
Yeah, they're not broken up. But Amy is getting super jealous because while Ben was in Italy, the last week he was there, he didn't call her at all.
Yeah.
And he was traveling the countryside of Italy with this girl from work and her friend.
And she doesn't know that yet.
So Amy's... Like, they do because I wrote...
She knows about the girl?
I wrote it, and then... Because when he her, he says, I traveled the countryside with my friend from work and her girlfriend. And
so
then Amy asks her girlfriend or her girlfriend. And then he has to clarify, no, they're not gay. They're just friends.
And
then Ben is like, Ben wants sex a lot. And then Amy's like, I'm not ready to have sex. And he's like, that's okay. But we should find some things we have in common and some hobbies that we can do as a family.
Oh, yeah. And then I was like, you're not even his dad. And then we get to Amy tells George about the bribe from David about her SUV. And he's upset. And then George goes to talk to Anne about it. And while he's talking to Anne, he tells her that he didn't get the vasectomy, but she already knew. And then he tells Anne that he loves her. And then she asked him, how didn't we get pregnant? And he's like, I kept a calendar.
Yeah.
And then I wrote...
I kind of liked that, though. That was
wrote, LOL, fuck, I love George.
Yeah, and then Anne's like all incredulous. She's like, you planned our sex by a calendar? And I was like, obviously it worked because it's been over 10 years.
I don't even know when I'm supposed to have my period.
No.
Granted, I don't get one, but yeah. But yeah, that's all I have for episode 7.
Yeah, that's kind of where it ended, was with George professing his love.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 8, a new kind of green. Adrian pushes George and Anne together.
Of course. So I have, at the beginning of this episode, David and George meet up. And David knows that he's not the father of the baby.
But he's okay with it.
Yeah, he wants to be a dad. They insult each other a little bit. And then David basically says that this is a competition now.
Yeah.
Which is just fucked up.
Okay.
And then we go over to Adrian's house and she's talking to her dad about George's house and like, you know, it's going to be on the market. You should take a look at it. They're going to get back together. And he's kind of like, well, maybe like when
her dad just kind of brushes her off.
Yeah, like maybe when your mom's home.
We'll look at it when it's on the market.
And then we have Adrian and Grace decide to go over there themselves to take a look at the house.
Yes.
And
the house. That's what they're over to look at.
Yes, the house. Which is really awkward. They shouldn't be there, but Ashley lets them in. And then they can see from the house that Amy and Ricky are fighting. But they're fighting about Ben having sex in Bologna, allegedly. And Ricky's kind of like, get a grip, Amy. Then also in that house.
I think that's why I just zoned out on all of these episodes, because like this is just such, I understand it's a high school show, but the high school bullshit of just getting jealous over every little thing. It's like, come on, guys, get over yourselves.
Yeah, and then also in that house, George and Anne are fight/talk about building.
Baby in love.
I have building block something. Building block something in quotes. Building block weenie? Oh, that's what George calls David, a building block weenie.
Oh, right.
I was like, what? It's been over a week. And then Ricky and Amy notice that Adrian and Grace are looking through the house, so Ricky comes over and confronts Adrian for spying. And I said, why?
Everybody's just fighting right now.
I said, why does everyone take every single comment so seriously?
Yes.
Fuck. And then Ricky wants Adrian to catch him cheating.
Literally. Okay, so my notes kind of start out with Amy and Ricky fighting, George and Anne fighting, kids fighting, and then my next line is, all of these kids are too jealous. It's so annoying.
Oh, God.
This kind of shows my thought process at like the first half of the show.
Yeah, so Ricky wants Adrian to catch him cheating, which I don't, whatever. And then I have Ashley pep talks Ricky about being a good guy.
Yeah.
And then
they kind of have a nice little friendship growing.
And then I have Ashley, Amy, and George chat about the house. David, Amy almost, I don't know. But basically, Amy's like, you guys can't get rid of this house. Our house is too small. There's no room for Ashley and Dad and the baby. Blah, blah, blah. But then, yeah, so basically she's pissed off about that. And then we go over to Ricky and Adrian, and Ricky wants to tell Adrian that he cheated, but he didn't, because Adrian's kind of like, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But she knows because she's also cheating. Even if is it even considered cheating?
Was this, I don't know. Was this before or after Adrian's little side piece confronts Ricky and asks
before.
him? Okay. Yeah, because that's my next note. I was making lunch during this episode, so my notes are scarce.
Adrian and Ben chat about Amy with Ricky, which I don't know what that means. But then I
think just
maybe like what
was
they did
this when Ricky kind of was this like when Ricky finds out that Amy asked Ben or Amy asked Ricky if Ben had sex? Was that when Ben found out?
Maybe, yeah. But then I have Amy and Ben talk about cribbage. Weird.
Well, that's because Ben learned cribbage while he was in Italy, so he wants to teach it. Yeah.
And then I have Grace and Jack talk about Amy's family, which is like, it's none of their business. So kind of about like, oh, the family's all getting back together. And then we learned that Jack and Madison had their own Dead Parents Club meeting over the summer.
Yep, and so Grace gets jealous now.
Yeah, and then I said,
because that's what this episode needed, more jealousy.
And then Grace said, "You sure you didn't spend your summer playing the field?" Oh,
so lame.
And then we kind of go over to Griffin and Ashley, and Griffin invites himself to hang out with Ashley later that night, and they have a no dating in high school pact. So there's a boy that Ashley's interested in, and Griffin is going to keep her grounded because she doesn't want to get pregnant like her sister. And then this is where Adrian's side piece confronts Ricky. And so this guy that Adrian's been hanging out with comes up to Ricky at school and is basically like, yo, dude.
You guys together or what?
And then...
Is there something in your house beeping?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Huh. I keep hearing like a low battery and a fire alarm thing.
No. But then I have Ricky and John adorable AF. So I don't know where that leads us.
Yeah. My notes are there was a nice conversation between Adrian and her mom where her mom is kind of like, hey, honey, you really need to talk to Ricky because I know you both love each other, but you got this weird thing going on.
Yeah.
And you both need to talk to each other and confront your commitment issues. And I thought that was nice. And then
I have that after my Ricky and John adorable AF. And they're afraid of love. Or she says that Ricky and Adrian are afraid of love.
Yeah.
And then I have...
Then Anne and David break up.
First I have Grace invites Madison over to her house to hang out with her and Jack. And throughout all of this, Jack and Madison have a weird vibe going. And Lauren kind of makes comments to Madison about, like, does Grace know that you and Jack hung out this summer? Not kind of implying that what they did. But yeah, then I have David and Anne break up, and David says that Anne can still work with him, but David's going to go move to the house that he was working on, so he's not going to be in the office a lot, so it'll be not awkward.
And he also lets her keep the car, the SUV.
But yeah, he's going to put it in her name, and she can decide if she gives it to Amy or not.
She wants to give it to Amy or not.
Yeah. Then I have Adrian shows up at Ricky's apartment, and they talk, and Adrian meets John.
Yes, and then she holds him.
And she also asks Ricky if she thinks they'll ever be able to change. And I wrote, nope.
And then Amy shows up.
Yeah, well, Amy and Ben are on their date, and they were going to play cribbage at the restaurant, and she falls asleep at the restaurant. And so Ben says he's not understanding, and he wants to clear the air with her. And Amy admits that Ricky did sleep over more than that one time this summer. And
he admits that he already knew.
Yeah, because he's been talking to Adrian. Ben says he didn't have sex, and Amy doesn't believe him. And then Ben set Amy up because he talked to Adrian already this summer. And then we go over to the Juergens house, and George meets Griffin. Learns that he's gay. And
loves him.
Loves him because he says that he's going to watch over Ashley for him. But yeah, then we say Adrian is holding John, and Adrian says that she thinks sometimes about getting pregnant. So basically that Ricky will love her. She's allegedly joking. Yeah. I don't think she's joking. But yeah, Amy comes by because she wants to go pick up John because she's done with her date with Ben. And she's tired, and she gets to Ricky's house, and they open the door, and Adrian's holding John, and Amy flips her shit. And basically, it's now World War III with Amy versus Adrian.
Yes. And Amy says that she's not going to let John stay over at Ricky's anymore, and that Adrian can never touch John.
That slut cannot touch your baby. But then we close out this episode with Ruben buying George's house.
Yeah. Dun, dun, that dun. Doesn't sit well with Amy.
Dun, dun, dun. Yay.
All right. Episode 9. Hot Nuts. Adrian and Amy's fighting escalates and Ricky intervenes.
This is so annoying. So this episode starts with Ashley saying that George moving back into the main house isn't the best idea. George has sold the house to Ruben, Adrian's dad, and they have about 30 days. So Ashley overheard George on the phone planning a date with someone. And so she goes and tells her mom that, like, hey, maybe don't move so fast with dad. I think you should date. And so she takes some pictures of Anne to get her up on a dating site. And she tells Anne that George is dating, so Anne's going to date. Then we go over to the Bowman's house, and Jack is fixing some cupboards in the kitchen, and that makes Tom mad because Tom's the man of the house.
Yes, and apparently when Tom is mad, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And then we go over...
Everyone's like, we have to talk to him, we have to calm down Tom.
Yeah.
And Jack is like, what? It's just Tom.
And then we get over to Adrian's house, and Ruben's like, there's 30 days until they can move in, and tells Adrian that she has to go and apologize to Amy before then.
Yes.
And then we have Adrian calling to Ricky to whine about that, and Ricky won't take Adrian's side because, you know, Amy's his baby mama. And then we show Amy dressed, and she's got some fucking weird red-ass tights on. And like a yellow cardigan.
All of her outfits
It's like
weird.
A red tights with yellow cardigan. It's very like Whoville. It's odd.
I totally would have worn that, though.
Bright red tights? No, you wouldn't.
Yeah. Yes, I would have.
And then we're at the school, and Amy and Adrian have a fight. Some words are said. Yes. Adrian's a slut. And then, so Amy and Adrian are fighting in the hallway, and the new school counselor, aka football coach, comes to stop them, and Amy is a smart ass to him.
Which then gets her suspended.
Yeah, and then, well, the best thing is that Ben and the betting guy make a bet on when is Amy going to start crying. And it happens when Amy learns that the coach is a school counselor. But basically, Amy made lots of comments about the football team and that band is better than football, etc., etc. But yeah, then we learned that Jack and Madison dated over the summer, basically. And Grace overhears Jack and Madison talking about that. And then there's also some words said about Jason wanting to sleep with Grace over the summer, and that's why Madison went after Jack.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what was said by Lauren and Madison. But yeah, Amy gets suspended for being a brat, and Ricky tells Adrian to fix it. And Ricky tells Adrian, we can't be together if you aren't friends with Amy. But yeah, so Amy has to call her mom to say she's suspended, blah, blah, blah. And Anne could care less about Amy being suspended. She's like, whatever, it's a day off. I'm just going to pick you up. We're going to go to the mall. I need to buy an outfit for my date, but pretend to be sad. So Amy plays the game, pretends to be sad. I said, bad girl Amy, LOL. She's all sad and then walks out, struts out of the office like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. And then that's also when the coach Isn't that when he finds out that Adrian basically started it?
Yeah, by saying that Anne's a slut.
Yeah, so then Adrian gets a phone call or gets called to the office or something.
Yeah. And then, Ricky said that he won't see Adrian until she apologizes. And then I have Tom wants to see Jack.
Yes, to throw the football around.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And that's when Jack is kind of coaching Tom on how to throw the football and what he needs to do. But secretly, it seems like Tom already knows this because once it's his turn to throw, he whips it down and hits Jack in his groin, and he gets a groin injury.
And then Grace goes, groin injury!
Yes, bringing it full circle.
But then we have George talking to Amy. Oh, I need to stop yawning.
Stop yawning.
And George tells Amy that he's proud of her for standing up for herself. And then I have Bunny talking. I have Bunny talking to the boys at work saying, and they asked for advice on girls, and she said, people who don't understand cows shouldn't handle beef. Love it. And then we kind of...
And then is it the dinner?
No, and then
Ben and Betty dinner?
Oh, then we go back to Adrian and Ruben telling Adrian she needs to apologize again. And then we have Anne is going on her date. So she heads out on her date looking hot and pregnant. And then while Anne's on her date, Adrian shows up at Amy's house. And I wrote that they're still bad at apologizing. Yep. Adrian tells Amy that she ruined Ricky's life. Yeah. So basically they didn't make up yet.
Nope,
and then
they haven't.
We're at Ben's house now, and Ben got some mail from Italy that Leo brings him. And
from his friend, that is the girl.
And Leo gives Ben some advice saying that if you had sex in Bologna, don't tell Amy. And then we have Ben, Betty, and Leo at dinner.
Why do so many people keep telling Ben to not tell Amy that he cheated on her?
Because I don't think it would do any good. I also think everyone just...
You shouldn't be in a relationship.
Well, I think everyone just wants Ben and Amy to break up at this point because they know it's not good for either of them.
So he should tell Amy that he cheated then, and they should break up.
But I also wonder if they know that if Amy learns that Ben had sex, that she's going to break down and just have sex with Ben to keep him. And they all know that Amy isn't ready.
Well, if Ben breaks up with Amy, then they wouldn't have sex,
and
he could tell her no.
Amy. Anywho, so they're at dinner, and Betty also kind of tells Ben not to tell her either.
Exactly.
And then we have Ricky and Adrian sleep together.
They still have that conversation at dinner on what Ben should call Betty.
Oh, I don't know.
She's like, yeah, because somebody says something and Ben is like, yeah, and I think, you make my dad happy. You're a good stepmom.
Oh, yeah.
And then Betty's like, I don't really like the name stepmom. And then Ben's like, well, guess I could call you mom.
She's like, how about you call me Betty?
And he's like, nah, I don't really like that either.
Call me Betty.
Like, just call me Betty.
Yeah.
All right, Betty.
Yeah, and then we have Ricky and Adrian sleep together because he thinks that she apologized to Amy. And then Amy calls Ricky, or vice versa, and basically Ricky learns that there was no apologizing. And then Ricky asked Amy if they would be together if Adrian and Ben weren't around. And I said, whoa. And then I said, Amy totally loves Ricky. Yeah. And then we have Grace and Jack talk, and she forgives him for the Madison stuff. And then I have Amy and Ben talk, but I didn't really write about what they talked about.
Amy and Ben? I don't know. My last note after the dinner was when we find out that the mom and dad, George and Ann, are dating each other, and then they find out that they're having a son.
Well, there you go. You just finished that. Yeah, Ann and George. So the girls learned that.
I'm pretty sure whatever their conversation was, it was stupid and dumb, and it was just about how Amy is jealous.
Yeah, and then we have Ann and George are the ones that went on a date together. That was who Ann's big date was. And then they learned that the baby is a boy.
Yep.
Yay. Okay.
And then we get to episode 10.
Yay.
Knocked Up. Who's there? Grace makes an impression on Adrian.
Okay. First off, this episode was so unnecessary. The introduction of a new character, so unnecessary. Also, okay.
Isn't that Rumor Willis?
Yeah. So there's a new girl at school and she's pregnant and it's Rumor Willis. And like Rumor Willis, I feel so bad saying it, is like the ugliest girl. She's gotten better. Like,
she looks just like her father.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Like, she went through like a Kelly Osbourne phase where like those two were both just like didn't have really good older teenage young adult years. Like like being like 19, 20 in like the early 2000s was probably never a good look on anyone. And
it wasn't on me.
Well, you weren't like really 19, 20. I guess you were, but like, I don't know. They just were very awkward looking. It's like they had that look that you go through at like 14, but they were like 20. Anywho.
Yeah.
So Rumor Willis is introduced as a new girl at school. She's pregnant.
And she hits on Ben.
Yeah. And then
because he heard that he likes pregnant girls.
And then there's an awkward talk about Amy and Ricky to Ben by this girl. And like, how does she know everything? And I don't know. But then we also get Jack and Grace talk about their abstinence group, and Grace wants to confess.
I also wanted to mention that the coat Ben is wearing is the ugliest coat ever. It's like 5 sizes too big, ugly brown leather jacket.
Like when you're a skinny guy, clothing sizes really matter. That's like the one thing I've had to teach Nick is like, he kept buying size medium shirts and he's a size small. And I'm like, you have to buy a size small because like, then it actually makes it look like you have a body underneath your clothes. Like when you wear a medium, it drowns you. And like when he does wear like a size small t-shirt, I'm like, oh, you do have a body like underneath your clothes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jack and Grace talk about abstinence group, and Grace wants to confess all of their sex the one time. And then Jack masturbated. Oh my God. Grace is upset. Surprised his hand hasn't fallen off. And
he hasn't gone blind.
And then Grace is inviting everyone to abstinent group. She invites Ashley. And then
yeah, I'm interested in tag teens against groups.
And then we have Ashley likes a boy. Yeah, and Griffin is not for that. But then Ricky sees Ashley talking to this boy, and he offers to double date with Ashley and her boy and Adrian.
Yes, because he thinks that will make Amy like Adrian.
Yes, because they're protecting Ashley. And then, so Grace is inviting everyone to this group. And then I have Lauren is mean to Amy and said Amy needs to have fun. Mm-hmm. And then Lauren offers to babysit John, and Amy's like, yeah, you can babysit John, but Madison can't come.
Yeah.
And then we kind of show Madison and Jack, and they totally had sex this summer, from what I'm getting. And then...
yeah, there's some vibes.
And then I said, who the fuck is this Heather girl? Rumor Willis. So basically we have Ashley going on a date, and Griffin and George are mad about it.
Yes.
And
then Amy wants to go.
Yeah, but we've learned that Anne is now on bed rest.
Yeah, so Dad kind of puts the kibosh on the girls leaving the house, and Ashley's like, okay, fine, whatever. But Amy's like, no, you don't control me. We're not a family. I'm 16 and I'm a mother and I can do what I want.
Yeah, so George wants to get a housekeeper, Anne wants to get a housekeeper, something like that. And then Amy said that they're not a family.
Yeah, Anne wants a housekeeper, and George says we don't need a housekeeper. We have the dog Moose, who knows how to dial 911.
The dog yet.
Okay.
And then Amy said that they're not a family, and George reminds Amy that she's a child. And then Amy tells Ben to come get her. I wrote, she sucks. And then Jack telling Grace that he doesn't want to confess to Tag. And then we have Ricky and Adrian are going to Grace's group, and Ricky won't have sex with Adrian before the quote-unquote date. But then Adrian demands he has sex. Gross. And then they do. But then I have Amy sucks, and Ashley yells at her.
That could have been when Lauren showed up to babysit.
Yep, she shows up. Lauren finds out Amy's plan, and now she won't babysit.
Yep.
And then Ben shows up. So then she goes
to the tag group with Madison.
Yeah, and then Ben shows up to the Juergens house. And George is like, fuck off, Ben. It's family fucking fun time.
Yeah.
And then George got a dog named Moose, who failed out of the
being a service dog.
But he does know how to dial 911.
Yeah.
So then we get to the tag meeting, and Grace talks, and she wrote a poem, but the poem does not go over well.
Nothing she says is going over well.
Basically,
she gets booed off stage.
Everyone is mean to Grace, and Jack sucks. And then Ricky stands up for her, which was cute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then the paramedics show up at the Juergens house because Moose keeps dialing 911. And then we show Ben is hanging out with Heather. And then I said, what the fuck, Ben and his stupid savior complex?
I know. I'm tired of him. I've been tired of him.
And then we have George is talking to Amy and reminds her that they are family and she's not a grown-up, and says he's losing respect for her.
Yeah.
Because she's being such a brat. Like, girl, I get it. You pushed a baby out of your vag at 15, and, like, I wouldn't know how that goes. But, like, you're still a child. You're not paying for any of your bills. You're living at home for free. I'm pretty sure your parents are paying for that baby's diapers. You got a free job. You have free daycare. Like, you're somehow still
we
in
do
school.
Find out at some point that Ricky sends Amy $50 a week.
Yeah, which is nice. And he did, like, run to Costco for her. But, like, if they needed to, I'm pretty sure that baby would never go without diapers.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, she would never know, like, she has 2 bedrooms at her house. But yeah, like, she could be like Heather.
Yeah. Who we find out her parents kicked her out of the house. She's having to do this all on her own. She used her birthday money to get an apartment.
Yeah, she wants to put the baby up for adoption, but doesn't know how to do it. And then she even said that, like, even after she puts the baby up for adoption, her parents won't even take her back.
Yeah.
So basically, Ben
brings her to Amy.
Ben stops by and tells her he saw Heather, but then explained that, like, she needed someone to talk.
Help.
She needed someone to talk to, but, like, he realized that he's not the one she should be talking to. But basically, I have Grace's confession. The audience was empty, and she gave her speech just to Jack, and then she's done giving her speech, and Jack tells her, I don't think you regret having sex. And then they make out.
Yeah, and I was like, did they just fuck in a church?
Pretty sure.
Because that's kind of where it left off. I was like...
Yeah, so basically he was like, you don't regret having sex. Like, you liked it. He gets all, like, macho.
And she admits that maybe I don't.
Yeah. And then we have Adrian is questioning sex because of Grace.
Yeah.
And then Ricky admits to Adrian that he doesn't see a future with her. So then Adrian jumps for Ricky because she's kind of realizing, like, why am I dating and sleeping with guys that don't foresee having a future with me? I only want to sleep with people.
Yeah.
Only want to sleep with people that I could see having a future with. And then Mark, who is Ashley's crush, goes over to Ashley's house. So Mark, the boy, and Griffin went to the sex group without Ashley. Mm-hmm. And then on the way home, Mark's mom stops by Ashley's house so Mark can see Ashley. And Griffin is sitting in the car with Mark's mom and is like, your son's not gay. And then he kind of talks to his mom and is like, would you care if your son was gay? And kind of gives his whole story about how his family was super accepting. And Mark's mom kind of admits that, like, she wouldn't be, like, happy if her son was gay, but, like, would accept him. I don't know. Yeah. It was weird. It was an unnecessary storyline again.
Yeah.
Then we have Amy's talking to Heather, and she gives her tips about, like, she can get her in contact with Ricky's foster mom, who's a social worker. And then...
Yeah, and the church will help, and also that in California you can leave your baby at the hospital.
And she also says that, like, if she'd want someone there when she gives birth, that Amy and her family would be there for her, which was nice. And then we have Ben talking to Amy and says that he loves crazy Amy. So toxic.
Yeah.
And then we have Amy talking to George and apologizing. And then we go to the end of the episode, and Anne loves the dog Moose.
She does.
It's her baby. There we go.
Then episode 11, Cramped. Amy is jealous when Ashley gets her own room in the garage.
Oh, God. Okay. So we have Ashley and...
It's moving day.
Yeah, so 30...
Everybody's moving today.
So basically 30 days later, Ashley and George are talking about the new bedroom in the new house. And
well, first he doesn't admit it right away. They're talking, he kind of teases her or, like, tricks her and says, well, you're going to move in with your sister. We'll get bunk beds. We can get another armoire because I think your sister's filled up the closet.
Yeah. And Ashley was cool.
And then Ashley's like, well, can we get bunk beds with a slide?
And so basically, and then George shows Ashley her new room. He redid the garage to make it look like a real room. Has its own entrance and everything, and it looks super cool.
Really big.
Yeah, and Amy comes by, and Amy's a fucking brat. So she's mad. She's like...
Amy's mad again.
I should have a bigger room, but really Amy has 2 bedrooms because the baby has his own room, but the baby sleeps in her room.
So it makes more sense for her to be in the house so she can be by her baby, because otherwise if she got the big room, then her baby would have to move into the big room with her.
Then it's not a big room anymore.
Doesn't make sense, Amy. Think about it for a second.
Yeah, Amy just wants something special. And then we have Adrian's packing up the apartment, and Ricky stops by to have sex, and Adrian says, no.
We're not together anymore.
And Adrian wants someone to love, not just sex. And then there's this whole thing about Ricky now having email on his phone. Because
they make a big deal about that.
Apparently Amy can't send a shopping list via text. She has to email it to Ricky. So Ricky's sitting there waiting for this email from Amy with a shopping list. And he, like, literally keeps saying, like, I have email on my phone now. And Amy's like, I made Ricky get email on his phone. I think they were really just promoting, like, new Verizon phones.
I think
like
so.
A lot of ad placement there. Like, you can email on your phone.
Yeah.
And then also we show Betty's moving into Boykovich's house. And Leo wants to make sure that Betty doesn't bring any of her old items. And then we go to the bone.
Grace's mom is being sneaky.
Kathleen's being sneaky, and Grace is suspicious. And then Tom also says that no one believes Grace isn't having sex and waiting till marriage. So there's that. And then Kathleen is leaving to go feed the homeless or something.
Yeah.
So Grace,
that's her excuse.
So Grace invites Jack over to make out. And then we get back to the Jurgens house, and Amy...
I just wrote fighting about room and moving
Amy
again.
thinks she's a victim. LOL. And then George realizes he's divorced. LOL. And the dog is leaving, ?
Yeah, because Anne originally said she didn't want the dog.
Yeah, and George, being the dumb guy he is, can't read between the lines. But then we have Ricky bring some baby stuff over. It looks like he made a Costco run. Got some diapers and wipes and stuff. And Ashley wants to go shopping for her new room. She only has about $50 and wants to hit up some yard sales, but no one's available to take her.
There's stuff before this, though, with Grace when she's making out with Jack and she gets her period.
After.
Not according to my notes.
According to my notes, it is. So we have Ricky brings over the baby stuff. Ashley and Ricky are going to go yard sale shopping. And Ricky leaves a note, or one of them does. And then they end up at Betty's yard sale.
Ashley leaves the note.
Yeah. Betty's having a yard sale, and it looks like it's all of her sex stuff. LOL.
Yeah.
And then Grace and Jack are making out, and Grace gets some stomach pains, and it looks like it's her period. And Jack
and they have a really awkward talk about
Jack says, your vagina is pretty busy. I'll come back later. And then Jack tells Grace not to be embarrassed because he was raised by a single mother and knows all about it. And then Jack is going to go buy Grace some tampons. But then we also while Jack is leaving, we also panned to Tom wants to have sex with Tammy. And Tammy says no. So in that time we go back to Betty's yard sale, and Ben, Henry, and Alice are there. And then all of a sudden Ricky and Ashley show up. Then there's some stuff about, like, I guess Betty has a dentist chair and just all of this weird stuff from her days in her previous occupation.
And she also has the spit sink.
Yes.
And she wants to get that installed.
You need a special plumber. And Ben
we'll have the little sink next to the big sink.
Ben is really good at helping his dad out by saying, we don't have the plumbing for that.
Yeah.
And then we're over back at the Jurgens house, and Anne wants to keep the dog. So she tells that to George. And then Amy and George are mad that Ashley's with Ricky shopping because, apparently they're going to have sex.
I know. I also wrote the poor Ricky episode because everybody judges him.
I think about, so when you and Taylor were together, you were 16 and 18 and I was 15. I don't know if it would have been weird if you were at school or whatever, if Taylor came and brought me to McDonald's.
It would have been fine.
Even if we were and I mean, I
get
Ricky,
Taylor also didn't.
Father,
knock me up.
That's true, and didn't have a reputation. But I was just thinking,
yeah,
been normal. I don't know. Then we have Ricky and Ashley come back from shopping. And George is trying to yell at Ricky, and Ricky's like, I have boundaries. And then George just has some nasty things, and Ricky is hurt by them. And then Ricky storms out, and then Ashley talks to George and is like, do you even trust me?
Mm-hmm.
And then, So then we're at the drugstore where Jack is buying Grace some tampons. And over the aisle, he sees Kathleen, Grace's mom.
With a man.
Buying condoms. And then Kathleen sees Jack, and basically that's great. But they pretend they don't see each other.
Yep.
But and then we get back to Amy and Ricky talking, and Amy says that Ricky talked her into having sex, and Ricky says he didn't plan on to have sex, and Amy says
they were just making out.
Yeah, he's like, if we would have planned it, don't you think I would have had a condom? And then Amy says she hates Ricky, which is just rude. And then we go back to the Bowman's house, and Kathleen's in an abnormally good mood. and wants to take everyone to the Dairy Shack.
That does sound really good right now.
I know.
I'm getting really hungry.
And then
I want Culver's.
Jack shows. Oh, sounds so good. Jack shows up and he's going to keep Kathleen's secret because he's like a semi-good guy. Like, I like Jack. He's like a typical 16-year-old. Like, he doesn't make the best decisions, but he's not bad.
Yeah.
And then Ricky's at Adrian's house and he's a little scary because he's really afraid, or he's really upset about the things that George said about him. And he's like throwing stuff around and yelling and stuff. And then he has a breakdown and he's upset because Amy hates him. So then Adrian says that she wants to go to therapy with him, which at the time sounds like a bad idea because, like, you're 16. He says no. And then...
Yeah, because he says, like... he says that there are, like, few things that are, like, sacred to him, and therapy is one of them.
And then we go to George and Ashley, and George apologizes to Ashley, and then Ashley stands up for Ricky. Which it seems like throughout these few episodes, like, Ashley's always on his side. And then we have Ashley and Amy are not okay. Ashley's mad at her because Amy's a brat. And then we have Ben has the dentist chair. He did take the...
Does he now?
Yeah, but he doesn't have the sink. He's sitting in the chair.
Well, that's getting installed in the bathroom.
Yeah, he's sitting in the chair in his room, and then his Italy girlfriend calls.
That's right.
And she kind of says that she plans on coming to visit the next summer. And then I have Ricky's at Ashley's, and they talk, and she's acting weird. Like, she's kind of flirting with him. It's very weird. But they talk. And then we go back to Jack at Grace's house, and Kathleen's boo is there. And we learn that Kathleen's new boyfriend is the brother of the doctor that owned the plane that...
Dr. Segay.
Yeah, that owned the plane that Marshall was on when he died. So Tom basically says, like, your brother killed my dad. And that's kind of where we end off.
We also had, let's see. You missed the part where George makes Anne pancakes.
Oh, yeah. They keep the dog, and then Anne says she's hungry.
Yeah, and she's like, can't fall. Yeah, she's having trouble falling asleep because she's so hungry, and that's when George is like, what do you want? And she says, I want homemade pancakes from scratch with warm maple syrup and warm butter. And George just kind of leaps to action. He's like, yeah, whatever you want, babe, whatever you want for the rest of your life.
Aww.
And she's like, okay. And that's when she turns to Moose and starts cuddling him. And she's like, we had pancakes the night this baby was conceived. Aww. Do you think that's a sign?
Cute.
Yeah.
All right. So season 2, episode 12.
And that's when then Ashley walks in and then they have a conversation.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. The last episode 12. Be my baby. George gives Ricky and Ben some much-needed advice. Ricky and Adrian go to couples therapy, and Adrian shares a very personal story explaining why she wants commitment so badly. Grace continues to argue with her mom over dating so soon and decides she isn't ready for a serious relationship herself. When Anne goes into labor, they come to the conclusion that they won't make it to the hospital in time, so George, Amy, and Ashley are forced to deliver the baby at home. Adrian and Ricky spend the night together, and Ricky finally says the words Adrian has been waiting for. I don't know why some of these summaries are so long and others are like 2 words. Yeah.
So we get to Ricky and Adrian are at her new house because they did move into George's old house, and they're together.
Question mark. So excited.
Then
I don't know.
Amy's holding John, and they see Ricky at the new house, and John waves at Adrian. Oh, and then I also wrote, like, I was questioning the fact, like, what happened to George's arm? Why is he still in the cast? It's such a thing.
They briefly mentioned it. I don't remember what episode it was.
Yeah, about his motorcycle.
But he walks in. Yeah, I think it was a motorcycle
So I'm wondering
accident.
if he broke his arm in real life.
Yeah, something must have happened, and they just had to write in that one sentence.
Basically, like Anne being pregnant too, because Molly Ringwald got pregnant in real life.
Yeah,
with twins. And then we have George is working in the backyard, and basically that's kind of like this whole storyline this episode, that George is in his backyard.
One guy after another.
Yeah, so Ricky's over at Adrian's new house, and George sees him across the fence, and he does like the howdy neighbor thing, and Ricky and George are gonna have a chat. And so Ricky comes over to George's backyard, and they do home projects, and they have a man talk. George's dad, so George kind of admits that his dad was never around, and says that he respects Ricky for being involved in John's life. And so that's kind of their man talk. And then Ricky leaves, and then Ben shows up, and he comes to the back door because, he's being quiet, and he's got,
No. We don't know why they're coming to the back door yet.
But he's coming in.
And he's got the giant cooler of wings.
Yeah, and Ben is freaking out about cheating, basically. And I said, so confused. George tells Ben to spice things up with Amy.
Yeah.
Because basically Amy's being a little brat lately, needs a little spice in her life in more ways than buffalo wings. So that Ben goes inside, and then Griffin comes to the back door, and George is like, why is everyone coming to the back? And Griffin's like, well, there's a sign on the door saying that the baby's sleeping. So then Griffin's over, and he's talking with George too. I don't really remember what the details of their conversation were, but I think it's probably around Ashley and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't really have a long chat.
Yeah. And then we get to Grace's house, and Grace is still mad at Kathleen. Apparently her new boyfriend's a lot younger.
He is.
And then Grace said that Kathleen should still be in mourning. And I guess the boyfriend went to church with them. So Kathleen's toting around this new younger guy.
And he's Jewish.
And then Grace says if her mom's having sex, then she's going to have sex.
Yeah.
And then she calls her mom's boyfriend a gigolo. And I'm like, what? Oh, this is where it was. And then they're kind of talking about doctor things, and Jack tells Grace that Grace being in sports medicine is a perverse medical field for a woman, because apparently only men can be in sports, and no girl doctors can be allowed to perform on men. Whatever. And then, this was the one question I had too, because they were talking about how her boyfriend's Jewish, and Kathleen's like, well, I'm pretty sure Jewish people don't promote sex before marriage either. And then they're like, I don't think any faith promotes sex before marriage. And then, I don't remember who said it, but they're like, I don't even think atheists promote sex before marriage. And I was kind of like,
Jack said it.
I'm pretty sure, like, that's semi-true. Like, we
don't promote it, but we're not against it either. It's just when you're ready and when you're comfortable.
We promote sex with education.
Yeah, safe sex.
Yeah, safe sex, consensual
educated sex.
Emotionally ready. Well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't emotionally ready and still alive. Wasn't safe either, but here we are. People should be.
I was emotionally unsafe.
Oh, were you?
I was.
I was not. So yeah, I like that. atheists promote sex before marriage. And then Jack brings up oral sex to Grace, saying, if you're not ready to have penetrative sex, there is a loophole. And in that case, everyone wins. Do they, Jack?
Although technically isn't oral sex penetrative, at least for blowjobs, you're penetrating the mouth.
Yeah. It reminds me of that Family Guy episode where everyone starts to have ear sex.
I don't think I've seen that one.
There's an episode basically that everyone's now abstinent in high school. So the teenagers start having ear sex because you can't have anal and you can't have vaginal or oral.
Oh, I think maybe I do remember that now.
Everyone starts getting ear infections because they're having ear sex. But yeah, Jack brings the oral sex and says everyone wins. So I really want to know if he's saying he'll give oral as well because because I don't think,
I'm sure.
Because I don't think, at least in my time in high school, I don't remember a lot about female oral sex being talked about. Everyone talked about blowjobs, but no one really talked about female oral sex. So I hope so. I mean, we saw Henry and Alice. Yeah. And then, we have Ricky and Adrian are at therapy.
They made it.
Yes. And I mean, as someone, I do see a couples therapist monthly with my boyfriend, and it's great, but can't imagine doing that at 16 and you need a parent's permission. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Adrian would have been allowed to go without, I'm sure her mom would have said whatever.
I'm sure her mom would have supported it, yeah.
But yeah, I just feel there's a lot of rules that gray lines there. So
it's a TV show.
So we learn about how Adrian first had sex, and she had sex at 15, and it was her best friend who was also her neighbor. Antonio. And he was going to move away, or he moved away, but they wanted to have sex first because they were best friends and they loved each other.
And they'd always talked about when they're older, they were going to get married and have kids.
Yeah, wanted to be each other's first.
Yeah.
Basically, he ghosted her after they had sex, but it turns out he had cancer, and she knew that. And
he didn't ghost her. They made an arrangement not to speak to each other after.
He was moving away to get treatment. And I think he passed away. And she never got to say goodbye. And so she has a lot of abandonment issues. And I'm sure growing up without a father, as we know, can kind of contribute to that as well. But Ricky,
daddy issues.
Yeah, Ricky's comforting to her, which is really nice. And so one of the things that really hurts Adrian is that Ricky will never stay with her after having sex. He always leaves her away, won't stay the night. So she always feels like he's going to leave her. So Ricky agrees that he will spend the night with Adrian.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
we go over.
They also had, it must be after therapy, and Adrian and Ricky are talking, and Adrian says that Ben doesn't love Amy.
Yeah, that's later.
Oh, well, that's my next note. So I must have
because first then it may be then, but then I don't know. Yeah. But then the next one is we see Ben and Amy together, and Ben's taking George's advice and being real gross and just laying it on thick with Amy. Like, I can't help it, Amy. You just make me so hot. I just want you. And then that's when Amy's like, let's get engaged. And Ben's like, aren't we already kind of engaged / married? And she's like, no, let's do it for real, and I'll move in with you.
I'll have sex with
because
you.
She wants to get out of the house.
Yeah, she offers sex
she's going to have sex with him. Yeah.
And then, so she offers sex in return, she can move in. And then we go over to Ashley, and Griffin's there, and Griffin tells Ashley she should talk to Amy.
You need to make up with your sister.
So she can actually enjoy her room, because she's asking Griffin for decorating advice.
Design help. Yeah.
So then Amy and Ashley do talk, and they talk like we would if we were to have an emotional talk. And it's kind of like, truce? Cool.
Yep, cool. Glad we didn't have to talk about that. Bye.
I had a conversation this weekend because I was over at Nick's parents' house. Nick was at work, but I was talking to his brother, who is probably like 4 or 5 years younger than Nick. And they're close. If either one of them needed something, they would call each other, but they don't talk daily or weekly even. And I was like, well, that's kind of like my sister and I, we talk every day, but our conversation,
we don't talk.
Our conversations are very surface level. Like, I think I recalled, like, when Mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, like, I texted you and I was like, well, this sucks. And you're like, yep. But we've never, like, talked about, like, oh my God, what if our mom dies or something? Like, it's like, nope. Yep, this sucks. Mom's having surgery today. Yep. Like, but we know that there's, like, a relationship there, and, like, we're very close. Like, we're very close, but, like, we would, like, we've gone through a lot of shit together, but we've never talked about it. And I was like, but we know, like, we're there. But I was telling that to, like, Nick's parents, and I was like, you know, like, yeah, like, I know when Nick's dad got diagnosed with his illness 2 falls ago, like, Nick called his brother right away, and, like, they were kind of, like, both on the phone, and it was kind of like, yeah, this really sucks, but also, like, we're not going to talk about it. Also, like, if they needed each other. And I was like, yeah, like, and, like, Nick's mom and his aunt are very...
We show our love through action.
Well, right, like, Nick's mom and his aunt are very close, and they talk about everything, and, like, best friends, and, like, talk about relationships and their marriages and ex-marriages, and, like, I was like, yeah, like, Jen and I are, like, super close, but, like, I don't need to know when her and Taylor fight and vice versa. Like, they're still together.
Because when we do fight, it's like, why haven't you put that away yet?
Also, like,
I've been waiting for 5 days. I've been leaving it on the counter, deliberately waiting for you to pick it up.
That, like, Nick pissed me off, like, people think it'd be bad, but I'm like, our fights are literally about, like, why the fuck did I clean the litter box twice this week and not you?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you love us? Because you don't clean.
Yeah. We've passed the big fight stage, and now we're on to the... You're just annoying me today.
Right. Stage. Like, you stay up too late playing video games and you wake me up when you come to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But that's basically how Amy and Ashley's truce is, that they just kind of look at each other like, you good? You good? Cool. And then Anne goes into labor.
Mm.
And we realize that she's going into labor at home, and that there is not enough time to get to the hospital.
But 911...
Did they tell Moose to call 911? 911.
I know, it's like, you're all like, the dog's in the backyard, he can't call 911.
Why any of them calling 911 themselves?
That's when Ashley's just like, I'm going to go call 911. Ashley, the only sane one.
And 911 won't,
but then we find out
come anymore.
They're not coming there because they had too many fake calls. I don't think so either.
But then
especially if when they did get the call and they realize they're talking to a human,
right?
Because if Moose calls, no one's talking. So
also,
it's like obviously a human called you.
The phone was literally right next to the bed,
right by the bed, and she walks out of the room.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
But then, so George is like, I'm going to deliver the baby. And then Anne...
And like, you're going to deliver the baby with one arm?
Is, like, laughing hysterically because of that. But George is being very serious.
Yes.
Then we kind of pause for a second and we go to Ben. And Ben isn't sure that he loves Amy. He loves the Italy girl. And then Betty says that he should sleep with Amy.
Yes, you should. And use your goddamn words, kids.
Yeah, and then LOL, and then it says, can't... Wait. Oh, you can't get married if you aren't sexually compatible.
Mm.
That's what she says. Like, you guys should have sex before you get married. Because I think Ben is bringing it up to Leo, like, can Amy and I get married? Can Amy move in? Blah, blah, blah. And Leo's like, yeah, she can move in, but I need her parents to tell me it's okay. And he's like, well, we're engaged. And then basically Betty was like, you guys should sleep together because you shouldn't move in if you aren't sexually compatible.
I do agree with that. That's like, you know, I'm all for honoring your religions and whatnot, but I do think it is important to, I think you should live with someone before you get married and sleep with them.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, obviously Nick
living together is incredibly important. Yeah. You have to make sure your routines mesh.
Like, obviously Nick and I moved in very fast. Like, we moved in together. Well, we signed a lease 2 months into dating and moved in after 3 months of dating. But we were both living with our parents and an hour apart. And we were both looking at getting our own places, which each of us spending $1,000 or more on rent would have been silly. But I mean, I don't agree. Like everyone,
and I think it's good you guys got a 2-bedroom because if things didn't work out, you guys could just be roommates.
And luckily, like we didn't sign a year-long lease. It was like a little under 10 months.
The school semester lease. That's what I always call them, the 9-month lease for all the students.
And so I don't agree. I mean, I was also very surprised that like mom didn't say anything when I was like, I'm moving out with my boyfriend of 2 months. But
I think our mom is very good at, once we kind of become adults, she's like,
I was like,
all right.
At first I didn't really, because like Nick and I had decided, it was when we were in Colorado for my birthday trip. We were both like, we should move, like we were both talking about getting our own places, and we're like, why don't we just do this? And at first I was kind of like, well, you can do it, Nick, because you have good credit and stuff. I'm like, I'll help pay for rent. Like I'll stay there most of the time.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turned in like, why don't we just sign this together? And like, yeah, we're both on the lease, so we're both that. And then I was kind of like to mom, I was like, well, Nick's getting his own place, like never fully said it. But I think I'm going to be there a lot. And she's like, you're moving in. And I was like, yeah. But I mean, I don't say that everyone should move in after 3 months of dating, but I don't think we would be together still if we didn't move in so fast. If that makes sense, that like we were both thrown into it, and like we missed a lot of like that fun stages, like that first 6 months of dating, because we had to learn to live together right away. But like,
yeah,
I feel like our relationship would have been very different if we would have waited like a year to move in.
Yeah. Like, I also feel like my dating history is also very unique. I can't find that I relate to it very well.
No, everyone's like, nobody you moved really in after relate. 3 months, and I'm like, well, yeah, like also, what have you been paying over $1,000 in rent? Like, or we would be living at home, and like, it's that millennial thing, just convenience. But yeah, if we didn't have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, oh my God, saves us.
Mine was also, I mean, we had been dating 2 years prior, but that's because he was still in high school.
But you were always seeing each other on weekends.
But then he was, and then when it came time for him to go to college, we ended up both choosing the U of M because I'd applied to transfer there because that was always my first choice. And then
you were waitlisted first.
And then he decided he was also going to go there. And then because his family's in that awkward financial zone.
Rich.
Yeah, they're rich according to FAFSA,
rich, but your parents
no, there's
can't pay for your college.
Yeah, they're not actually rich because they have 3 other kids and a mortgage and, car payments and stuff.
You're middle class.
Yeah, so getting an apartment together is a lot cheaper than him going to the dorms.
Well, yeah, I was like, the dorms at the U are it's a lot different than St. Cloud. Where like, the dorms are fucking expensive, and it's like, they're not really required either.
And you have to get the meal.
Whereas like St. Cloud, it was kind of like
they're heavily encouraged. All dorms are heavily encouraged because they help you, make friends, and you're with other people going through the same thing. But yeah, they are super expensive, and you're required to get the meal plan, and you can't bring a car if you're staying in the dorm. It didn't help
that the person that he was going to live in a dorm with wasn't serious. Because wasn't he going to move in with Kevin? Kevin was a year younger. Wasn't he going to live with someone?
Kevin had moved to California by
Kevin's
then.
my age. But wasn't he going to live with someone in the dorms and they backed out? Oh, no, I think I'm thinking of Spencer and Kevin.
No, that was later at the house. That was later with the house, yeah.
I'm thinking of Spencer's situation. He was going to move with Kevin and Kevin backed out. Because Kevin was in California.
Yeah.
I knew that happened to someone. That's why Spencer ended up at the house.
Yeah. So then since we both were going to the same college at the same time, and, he wanted to save money, and I didn't want to live in an apartment alone.
You're infatuated.
I didn't want to live alone. Exactly, yeah. And we liked each other. Yeah. So then, we ended up living together.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
we lived together for a long, long time before we got married.
You had like a little break of not living together, but you basically stayed at the house, or he stayed at your apartment.
Yeah, because of the cat situation.
Yeah, no, I think it's...
And then I had my awkward graduation in December.
Yeah.
And then I knew I wasn't going to, because this was also, shortly after the recession. So I knew there was no chance I was going to get a job right away.
Yeah, and you had to move home for your internship.
Well, I didn't have to move home for my internship. I just knew that. Well, because no, it didn't actually. Well, I mean, it's a lot more driving. Yeah. But because I was graduating in December and all of the leases were like September to June or May or whatever, the 9 months, that I was like, I'm not going to sign a lease when I know I'm going to graduate and halfway through this lease and I can't keep my job because I was doing work study. Mm-hmm. So I was going to lose my job as soon as I graduated. So like, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford an apartment on my own. Or even renting with someone. And then I guess also kind of because of my internship, I couldn't work as many hours. Mm-hmm. So I was only working on Fridays because my internship and my class schedule took up so much of my time. It's like, I'm just going to move with my parents.
Right. Yeah. And I think
it's commute.
I think it's important for everyone to live together and have sex before you get married because like, yeah, like you have to have your routine. Like, I get it. Like, I'm sure, like, for you, it was weird. Like, you had your wedding, and then you literally went back to your apartment that night.
But, like, and then everybody after the wedding was like, oh, do you feel different?
Yeah, and you're like, no, we've lived together for 10 years.
We've basically been married since 2013.
But, yeah, you should have sex before marriage. Move in.
Should we finish the episode now?
Yeah, maybe. That was a good...
Tom has a sex talk with Dr. Segay.
Oh, yeah. So we learned that Dr. Segay is an OBGYN.
Yes.
And
Grace rolls her eyes at that, and she's like, of course.
Yes. Oh, and
like, what does that mean, Grace?
But first, Anne has the baby.
Yeah, we already said that.
And they name it Robbie.
And its name is Robbie.
After her dad. Yep.
Robert Scott Jergens, I think.
Yes. And then Jeff wants to marry Kathleen.
Yes.
And then Grace is breaking up with Jack, and as soon as she breaks up with Jack, he texts Madison.
Yes. And says it's because of oral sex.
And Madison is with Lauren during this, and I guess Madison had oral sex with Jack.
Yeah, we knew that. We knew that from the first season, that brief moment when Jack and Grace break up at the beginning, and then he hangs out with Madison.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Ben is going to break up with Amy.
Yes.
Semi-decided.
And he's telling Henry and Alice that.
Yes. And then Ricky tells Adrian he loves her.
Yes, as they're spending the night together.
Oh, he whispers it while she's asleep, but she hears. And then I have Ash.
And she smiles.
And then I have Ashley is so wise, but I don't know why.
Yeah, Ashley and Amy have a sister talk as they're sharing a bed right now because Ashley's room still isn't fully set up, and they have a talk, and Ashley and Amy are talking about like their dreams and the future, and Amy's getting all bummed out because she had all these big dreams, and Ashley's like, well, dreams can change, you know, and Amy's like, are we a good family? Are we a normal family? And Ashley's like, we've never been a normal family. True. And they have a sweet moment.
Aww.
And then it ends with George holding Robbie, and they're looking in the mirror, and George is now unsure
are you
if
my kid?
The son is actually his.
Are you my baby?
Whose boy are you?
Oh, God. Yeah.
And that's where we end.
So exciting.
So exciting.
So excited to watch the next episodes. Like, I know it's going to get there. I'm just waiting for those episodes to get through all this first.
I know I had a revelation during one of these episodes where I remembered something that's coming, but I'm not going to say it.
I also want to know what my status was that I wrote about this 11 years ago that I wrote.
Do you remember what the date was?
Let's see.
I can look up when that episode was.
I sent it to you. I wrote it. What would have been today? Where is it? Oh, it was today at 8 a.m. 11 years ago. So June 22nd, 2009. I wrote, this is going to be the...
June 22nd?
Yep, 2009. I wrote, this is going to be the best season of Secret Life. That was so awesome.
Oh, that was
awesome.
The first episode of season 2.
Sad face. Really? I thought this season was going to be awesome. This episode was so awesome and sad. What was the first episode?
It was Amy struggling to balance her life as the new mom.
Was it the?
But it was the first episode of season 2.
Car crash or the airplane? Because that episode was so awesome and sad. Let's see. Yep, Grace's dad is dead.
Oh.
Yeah. So season 2 came out in June of 2009. And I thought it was so awesome and sad. Grace's dad
Well, you
died.
would have been, what, 16?
Yeah, I would have just turned 16. 4 days before.
The same age as these characters.
4 days so dramatic. Before I would have turned 16. Oh, God. Well, I was feeling like they felt.
Yeah.
So what did you do this weekend?
Well, do you want to... This weekend, I recorded my podcast with Brooke.
So why did you guys decide to change your format?
Mostly because she had her new cat and it was crying a lot. That and neither of us were really all that excited for the movie. So like, let's just do these things at the same time and we can hurry up and be done faster.
It's true. Because you guys are so dedicated to watching the movie together all the time.
Yeah. Well, that was like our thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Before we even started the podcast, we had our Friday movie night date nights.
Well, I'm still debating on buying a Mac.
And now we've kind of... Yeah.
MacBook Pro. I don't know yet.
I would maybe suggest for you to do the Air.
That's what I was thinking, because then I only need to get the adapter.
I don't think you fully need the Pro.
The adapter for the HDMI I would just need to get. I just need to get it. Well, the discount or the special is where you get the AirPods with it, because then I can sell the AirPods and get some money. And then I get the discount if I let Taylor. I don't even know how that student thing works. It just
you probably just have to enter in a valid student.
Yeah, I would probably just use his email and pay for it.
And then you just have to Zelle or Venmo him.
Would he have to pay for it? I could just
probably.
enter in his...
Or maybe he could enter in your card info.
Oh, because it just goes to like the Apple Education website. So it's not like, I don't know. We'll have to see. I was about to go through the check.
The only time I got the education discount was when I physically bought it from the University of Minnesota.
It was like
bookstore.
having me just go to the Apple website.
So I don't know how it would work online.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I need $900 first, so it's. But yeah. Cool.
What else did I do this weekend? Taylor made barbacoa, homemade barbacoa.
Ooh.
I know. Such a bummer I'm having my tummy blahs, though, because I wasn't even hungry for dinner last night. I remember because our podcast was so long. It was like 2.5 hours. Yeah. And I cut out like 40 minutes of it.
Well, we're at 2 hours.
But it was still so long to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's fine. Ours are always long. Me and Brooks aren't always long.
You might cut out the whole like 30 minutes of talking about moving in before.
Probably not.
Whatever. It's good advice.
Yeah.
For all of our listeners.
Didn't say anything salacious or anything I don't want to be out there.
Our 2 strangers that liked our Facebook page. What up, Chloe? This one's for you. Chloe in Missouri.
Hey, Chloe.
What up, girl?
What's it like living in Missouri?
I paid $4.83 for a Facebook ad to run for 5 days. Got 2 new likes.
I know whenever I post a new Instagram post, it's always like promote ? And I'm like,
I know they're like, if you promote this ad, we'll give you $10 in credits for advertising on Facebook. And I'm like, We're at 21 likes.
Yeah, we've made over $1.
We don't know how big of an empire we want this to be yet. Before we put in a lot more effort.
Yeah, I figure maybe if we ever hit, I don't know,
so if
1,000 listens, then maybe I'll set up a Patreon.
How many episodes have we done? Because that's only like 10 listens an episode, Jen.
Some of them have more listens than others, though.
Okay.
And then, maybe if we ever get like 100 followers on Instagram.
Well, you have to go and follow some of my friends on Instagram.
I have.
Not really.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15 episodes out and 217 listens.
I wonder who listens of our friends.
I know Taylor does. I know Sanjay listens to the movie ones. He doesn't listen to the show ones.
I'll download them. I download everyone. I don't listen to the movie ones.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Oh, I thought downloads
don't matter. It's listens.
So I have to play it the whole way through. You can't fast forward.
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know how it all works. There's an option where I can like upgrade our plan and I can see more statistics, but it's just not worth it right now.
I was just saying, so my ad...
You have a loud vehicle outside of your house right now.
Yeah, it's like on the road. Weird.
Yeah, I can hear that.
My ad on my podcast when I listen all the time is American Family. I don't know if it is for you. And
I don't listen to them.
You don't listen to your episodes?
I listen to them when I edit them, but I don't listen to them after they're published.
Like, it starts with like an American
Unless
Family.
They're like really funny.
It starts with like an American Family advertisement usually. And I want to get to the point where like I get free car insurance. That's all. Or at least a discount.
Big dreams. Let's see what my first ad is.
And I want to call up like Chris Chapman and be like, hey bro, I advertise American Family on my podcast.
Mine's T-Mobile.
Great network and the best prices. We give you both. Switch your family of 3 or more.
Cool. I don't have T-Mobile. I have Xfinity Mobile, brought to you by Verizon.
So you didn't get the big outage like 2 weeks ago?
I did not.
I did.
All of my...
I know at 9 p.m. at night, I got like 20 text messages all at once. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
So all of my advisors at my office, my phone calls for work go through my computer because I have like a company computer, but my advisors don't. So they have to use like a Jabber app on their cell phones to call out, and all their cell phones were not working and they were all freaking out. And I was like, and my boss was at the point, he's like, okay, if you can't make calls, just log off. And I'm like, yeah, my phone doesn't work either. And he's like, your phone works through your computer. I'm like, doesn't matter. Doesn't work.
Yeah, it didn't like cause any problems for me throughout the day. I just probably wasn't talking in our group chat.
I just kept getting, Mom's was out too, and I just kept getting random texts at random times. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And then,
that was also the day Brooke got her cat. So she sent me like 6 texts in a row. And I was like, sorry. So do you have T-Mobile? And I was like, yeah. It's like, okay.
There's a lot of companies. It was like T-Mobile. There was some Verizon and AT&T and stuff.
It was because I heard that Sprint and T-Mobile were merging.
So that day.
And that caused a bunch of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone didn't go out. I've had really good, because I get Verizon service, which it's better up here, Verizon is. So it's nice.
Everything sucks here because of the mountains.
Yeah. I don't think we've driven to Colorado since we got our new phone plan. But no, I think we did for the wedding. Never mind. Because I was like, I wonder if my phone works different when it gets to that point in between Nebraska and Colorado where like phones don't work. But
yeah, and I get like Cellular One service or whatever.
It's like Iowa Wireless or something. And like,
yeah. US Wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying. We should just leave. It's over 2 hours.
I have to pee.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Well, bye, guys. Be safe.
Social distance. Don't ride planes.
Happy.
And have sexy for marriage.
Yes, lots of it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.